All right. So, yeah, welcome to our first general meeting. Today we're going to be covering the first Forge session and like more detailed logistics and also details on TMS. And we're actually going to start recruiting. So pay attention if you want to be a part of that. But first, we're going to get started with the first Forge session. I'm going to hand it over to Kai.
Right. Um, can you change the slide? Thank you. So firstly, transportation, we'll be using carpools, which you could see what carpool you're on based on the Forge sign-up sheet. You should have signed up to Central or North Campus. That's the league. We meet where the circle thing is. It's like the little, I forget what it's called, but there'll be cars there. And by the bus stop on North Campus, there's no picture of it, but just look for a crowd of people all going to blacksmithing. Please don't drive yourself. We don't have a lot of parking availability, and also please arrive on time. We don't want anyone waiting. And I think, yeah, we're gonna ask you to like wait only up to 10 minutes for latecomers. If you're gonna be late, just like tell your group in transportation, just be like, hey, I'm gonna be like minutes late. Don't be more than 10, or else we will ask them to go so people can arrive to the forge on time. There's also like specific parking instructions. Um, just like once you drive into the cul-de-sac, just like the areas circled in red are just places that are designated to park. The building marked with red is the one we're going to be using. Just head into the garage after parking. For safety training, we'll just start safety training at the beginning of the Forge session because everyone needs to do it. Even if you have forged before, we will need to like document it now. So we'll just give you like a form to sign. It'll be very quick. It won't take very long. We'll just kind of go through the Forge setup, what you should do, how to forge safely. You can see the garage here. On the left is like all our materials, all the things you can touch. We'll go through it in more detail, but basically like everything on the shelves is ours. And you can see the anvils and the forges set up there, which we will move. So it like the forge setup. There's also like propane. Just if you're not sure if something is out, just ask one of the officers. We can tell you. And everything on the right is stuff that you should not touch. Some of it we can use, but um, the officers will be in charge of that. Uh, Absolutely do not touch the fly press. I don't recall if there's anything else that was mentioned, like really do not touch. But yeah, you can look at it, but do not use any of it, please. So for our first project, we'll just do bottle openers. So you can see we're gonna start with 6 inches or thereabouts of a 3/8 inch square stock. So it'll look like that, and then you'll learn how to elongate it, taper it, kind of like curve it to like make the bottle opening hook, and then bend it so it turns into the ones on the right. Those are all the ones we made last year. You could see you can kind of play around with the shape as well. And for our future projects, we'll just cycle out projects every 2 weeks. Everyone will be able to complete it in one Forge session. We've designed them that way, but if you're unable to finish, don't worry. You can finish in a second Forge session, just like kind of let one of the officers know, like, hey, I need to finish this project, and we can figure something out. But that being said, you'll probably be able to finish it, so I wouldn't worry about that. And in the future, we're gonna be doing leaf keychains, blacksmithing knives. There's also railroad spike bottle openers and punches.
Okay, I guess we're moving on to TMS recruitment. Um, so we explained it a little bit in the last meeting, but the TMS bladesmithing competition is a competition where we build the blade as a group and we submit it along with a bunch of other materials. So the deadline for registration this year is November 1st, and we have to submit a list of all the people that are going to be going. And at that point we should already be like pretty far along the process of getting that blade built. So keep that in mind. This QR code on the right is actually going to lead you to the TMS official website with more detailed submission details. And speaking of like all the submission materials, we have to submit them all by early January. So that's the hard cutoff. We don't actually have to get the blade there until around March, but we have to have a photo by early January. So it has to essentially be finished. And we're going to be submitting 4 things. We're going to submit a blade that we make. We're submitting a poster with blade like specifications and also the the data that we collect from the Van Vlak. We're also going to be submitting a technical report, which is basically just a paper. And then the last part is a video. The video is 2 years ago we worked on it, and I think only me and one other person worked on it. So this year we want to incorporate more people into that team. So more specifics on the blade. It needs to be a knife or sword that's between 20 and 120 centimeters long, and we can only submit one. And this is the blade down here that we submitted 2 years ago. It's a Shinobi Tanto, and it was all hand forged. Like we didn't use any CNC machines or anything. And when we submit it, it actually can't be sharpened. So this blade that you see right here is basically just a decoration piece. It's not going to be used for anything. And lastly, there's no restrictions on starting material. Like we can do a smelt and we can make our own material. We can make woots. We can do anything. There was a school that actually made their own blade from bronze that they casted themselves. So yeah, the sky's the limit in terms of material. And for the video, yeah, here's just like some detailed video specifications that we don't really have to worry about now. It has to be under 5 minutes, and you can see last year, 2 years ago, was like 4 minutes and 59 seconds. And yeah, it's supposed to detail the entire build, and it actually has to have a section that's just based on safety, which is interesting, but it still has to be there. And then the technical report, it is maximum of 10 pages. This is the beginning of ours from 2 years ago, and it has like historical background, material science details. Like it's a pretty in-depth paper. And yeah, this team will be working with every other team. And lastly, the poster, it can be as complicated or as like detailed as like we can make it. And this is ours from 2 years ago. The picture, some charts, microscope images, and also like a picture of our team. Yeah, here's like some details that you can look at it after. I'll send out like a link to the PowerPoint so you can read these details. And yeah. So there's 4 separate teams. Each team is going to be for each of the 4 different materials that we're going to be submitting. The first one, video team, led by Anshul and Margot. And then the second is the Van Valk data collection team. This team actually is going to start a little bit later than everyone else because we actually have to have like at least a forged out blade to do like analysis on. So yeah, but they'll work with every other team because they have to get their data to the video team and the technical report team, and they have to get the data on the blade making team. So yeah, then the poster and technical report is kind of the same, but they don't really work in conjunction with the video team. So they work with 2 and 4. And then the last team is the blade making team. We're going to try to meet at least bi-weekly. We don't know the time slots for it yet, but there's a good chance that it'll be during one of the morning or afternoon 4 sessions. If we're running out of time, we'll probably add a session during the week that we're going to try and find a time, like a when to meet or something. But yeah, those are the 4 teams. And to join a team, we have a QR code here. You can join multiple teams, but you have to ensure that you can contribute like an adequate amount of time to like all of them. Like if you sign up for 2 and you're spending like an hour a month for both, like it'd be better if you just like help with one and put like those like 2 hours into it. Like we don't want to like spread you too thin. Um, but yeah, this will also be in the slides that we send out later. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think this is the last slide. Yeah, this is the last slide. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Um, let me stop the recording.